A young woman came to New York City for her first job and was immediately tasked with buying coffee for the magazine's editor-in-chief at 5 a.m. Every day, she rushed through the streets of New York in cheap clothes, looked down upon by her fashionably dressed colleagues who openly mocked her sense of style. Annie, a top university graduate, thought she was well prepared for this job. However, it turned out to be far more complex than she had imagined. She had to memorize countless unfamiliar brand names, fashion figures, and industry jargon without any guidance. Miranda not only couldn't remember her name but referred to all her assistants as Emily. Every time Miranda entered the office, she would casually toss her coat and bag onto Annie's desk, leaving Annie scrambling to deal with these unexpected gifts. One day, during a meeting, Annie couldn't help but laugh when an entire room of people agonized over two nearly identical belts. Her laughter caught Miranda's attention, who coldly remarked that Oscar de la Renta had designed a series of blue dresses like that for the 2002 Oscars. Many designers followed suit, and eventually, they made their way to department stores, where Annie had picked hers out from the clearance rack. That blue represented millions of dollars and countless job opportunities. Annie was left speechless, realizing for the first time the depth and influence of the fashion industry. That evening, while having dinner with her father, he couldn't understand why Annie, whose dream had always been to become a journalist, had instead joined a fashion company. Annie explained that she was just using this job as a stepping stone. Suddenly, her phone rang. On the other end was Miranda, who was stuck at the airport due to a storm but insisted on returning to New York that night to attend her daughter's performance. She ordered Annie to find a plane immediately, no matter how severe the weather. Annie called every airline and tried every possibility, but ultimately couldn't accomplish the impossible task. The next day, Annie arrived at the office to apologize to Miranda, only to be told that she was the worst assistant Miranda had ever hired. These words completely crushed Annie's self-esteem. She ran to complain to her colleague Nigel, who bluntly pointed out that Annie hadn't been putting in the effort for this job and was only complaining. He stated that Miranda was simply doing her job. These words left Annie deep in thought. To adapt to this environment, she decided to completely reinvent herself. With Nigel's help, Annie underwent a total transformation. The next day, when Annie walked into the office wearing Chanel boots, everyone was stunned. Even Miranda couldn't help but give her a second look. From then on, Annie showcased a different fashionable look every day, and her work became increasingly effortless. She could not only anticipate Miranda's needs but also provide perfect solutions at a moment's notice. When Miranda asked her to obtain an unpublished Harry Potter manuscript by 3 p.m., Annie actually accomplished the impossible task. She even thoughtfully prepared 2 bound copies, one for Miranda's twins and one as a backup. Miranda finally started to see her in a new light. However, Annie's success at work came at the cost of her personal life. To accompany Miranda to a dinner party, she had to miss her boyfriend's birthday celebration.